3. I'm joined by Andy, as you can see. Finally got around to getting him on here, which is pretty exciting. How you doing, man?
Great. Thanks for having me on. Hello, everybody.
We're excited. Well, I'm excited to have you on because you spearheaded a pretty cool, 2-3 week long span of top 30, top 40, top 50 in their collection videos. And it all started with you. I mean, what gave you the idea to run through the top 50 of your Ripken cards? I'm kind of curious about that.
I was just going through my whole collection. And I was like, well, I'd like to narrow it down a little bit. And, you're going through your cards and all of a sudden you have favorites in your collection. Not every card you like, not every card is great. So you start looking at them and start making some piles here and there. And then you're like, oh, I could probably narrow this down to top 100. And then I ended up going top 50, which I think was a little extreme for a lot of people to bear through and watch the video, especially since, a lot of people had so much better quality videos than mine.
Right.
It was tough to show off the cards the way I wanted to. But
right. Well, one thing that I appreciated about your video, I don't know if anybody picked up on this, but as a teacher and a planner and an organizer, I appreciated that you had a list in front of you. Because I can't tell you how many times I've started a video and I pull out this card and I'm like, okay, this is a 98. Oh, wait, never mind. It's 99. You miss that, the fine details. And you don't want to give, as you and me know, you don't want to give false information to anybody. So, I really thought that was awesome that you had your list and I could see you going through card by card. That was pretty cool. I think you're the only person that did that.
Yeah, and I'm not very organized when it comes to my collection whatsoever.
Okay.
It took a little while to put that together. I wish I was more organized when it comes to, the giant box that I have going.
Right. Right. Well, I guess my first question for you is, and I haven't really had the chance to chat with you much. I know the first time I saw a video of you, you were doing a breakdown of all the Epics cards from 98 Pinnacle. And that was super helpful because based on prices, I didn't realize how rare some of the purples were, but I also didn't realize how common some of the emeralds are depending on what set they came from. So that was a really awesome video. And I know that I've referred to it a couple of times. I know Alan did as well on the podcast, but before we get to that, where did your love for collecting Ripken come from? When did you start getting into that?
I started, I grew up in northern Maine where we didn't have any card stores within probably 100 miles. It was the Presque Isle Mall was the closest, and that was 2 hours away. So I really didn't have much access to cards other than once in a great while getting out to a card store out that way.
Right.
I grew up in the early 90s, in the mid 90s when shortstops were the thing. You had Jeter, Ripken, A-Rod, and Nomar. Those guys were the biggest things going at the time before McGuire and Sosa came and did their thing. So I don't know how I got latched on to Ripken. I've always been a lifelong Red Sox fan. I just ended up starting grabbing a few of his cards, and it kind of steamrolled from there. I collected everybody, early on, but maybe the past 3 or 4 years I've kind of specified strictly on Ripken stuff.
Okay, so you're kind of like me. About 4 years ago, I started collecting the A-Rod. So is that when you really started looking into the 90s about 4 years ago?
Yeah, I'd say so. Like I said, I had tons and tons of stuff. I didn't really have a direction from where my collection was going. And then I tried to sell off most of my collection because I was doing a house remodel and needed money for that. So a lot of that stuff kind of went by the wayside, but I held on to most of my Ripken stuff and then decided I was just going to actually focus on one specific thing and kind of go off of that.
Okay, so did you have the knowledge of the 90s prior to coming into really collecting Cal, or did you? I kind of knew a little bit, but when I got into it heavy and found the Facebook group and found Freedom Cardboard, I started learning that there's this massive amount of cards that I need to be looking for. Did that kind of happen to you too, or did you kind of already know, what you were going to look for?
I grew up paging through Burkett's all the time. I had Burkett's memorized from, I'd say 1995 to 2002. I could probably tell you every price of every card in those books for a while. It's like reading the stock market pages, every day. Like I just loved reading through them and, memorizing card prices. So I knew a lot of the inserts, and I knew, I knew print runs on a lot of things. And I knew pack odds on a lot of things. But the 90s insert group and like Freedom Cardboard and especially baseball cardpedia, like those have opened my eyes to a lot of stuff that, it's so vast. Like you really don't fully comprehend how much stuff is out there and how,
Right. It is, man. I mean, it's like a rabbit hole that's endless. You know what I mean? You get in and you think you've got you kind of come to a nice little lull in your collection. And then like you go and post your top 50. I'm like, oh, I don't have that. I don't have that. I don't have that. Is A-Rod in that? And then I look it up and he is, so it's like, oh man, I got more things to chase. But I think that's the nice thing about our players is we're quite fortunate. They're pretty much in almost every awesome insert set that's ever been made. Yeah. And that's a big advantage for us, but that also gives us even more to chase down, because we're constantly, we got something else that we're looking for and something else and something else. It's never ending, man.
Oh, absolutely not. Like I posted a picture, I think a couple weeks back of 96 Fleer Ultra Ripken. And I think there was a total of 25 different cards just of Ripken in 96 Ultra. Yep. And I mean, it was incredible to chase to get that collection, because back in 96 you would have never been able to put that together without the internet. Yeah, you would have been pack searching for all those cards.
No, you couldn't have done it, man. I mean, you had to get so lucky to even get half of that, let alone put the whole thing together. And that whole gold medallion parallel thing, that really kind of kicked things off, because they were doing that, prior to the mirror golds and the PMGs and all that. They were like the spearhead of like the parallel, and it wasn't even that the card looked that different, but to pull a card out and see that gold dot, the gold logo in the top corner was pretty cool. I remember Ripken was in some great sets. I mean, we busted that box at the National of 96 Ultra Series 2. And like the cards, the inserts, the base cards stink. I'm not a big fan of the base cards at all, but those insert sets like the Rawhide, the hitting machines. Is he in that one? Is Cal in the hitting machines?
He's not in the hitting machines. No, not for 96 anyway.
But he's in the Call to the Hall, I think, right? Like that's got to be one of my favorites.
The Thunderclap, obviously, the Diamond Producers. Like he's in so much. He's in the Rawhide. And then the cool thing is, like, it was weird because they had so many different versions of the gold medallions just within that set. There was like clear gold medallions. There was some of the cards were solid gold. Some of the base cards were solid gold medallions. Like other ones were solid little gold medallions, and other ones were silver gold medallions. So it was, I don't know what they were doing with them all, but it was kind of interesting to see all the different versions of those medallions. Just in that one set alone.
Well, it would be kind of interesting, that woman who worked for Fleer and designed like Skybox or whatever, they designed a lot of those Fleer sets. I'd be curious to know what, like her and her husband, they were designing all like the metal PMGs and all these amazing inserts that we like, but where the idea for the gold medallions came from, because some are like easily noticeable, like the Rawhide, the gold circle is right there. The whole thing is an easy gold, but like the what is that, Call to the Hall? I mean, those.
It's just a regular circle that it's not even a gold medallion. It's not even a solid silver medallion. It's just a little silver circle that says gold medallion on it. It's not even gold or filled in. So it's hard to tell if you don't know what you're looking for on those.
Definitely. No, that really started off. That's interesting you bring that stuff up, because I had a couple of Cal cards growing up, and I remember the Ultras were kind of affordable. Obviously, it was mostly base cards of his that I had, but I remember that set being, like in the late 90s, that set was kind of underappreciated because they started coming out with all these, mega inserts like holographics and, the mirror golds, the mirror reds, mirror blues, and all these crazy parallels that they kind of fell by the wayside. And so, yeah, I definitely appreciate that. But I have to say, the card for me, for Cal, that's always been in my head. I think I mentioned this in your video. I remember looking through Burkett, and I'm sure you remember it too. That 96 Kramer's Choice of Cal, I remember that being like front and center in like an article. Like that card was like these cards are like the best thing on the market. Go get them. And they were selling like crazy in 96. I remember those cards were going nuts because Pacific they were just starting to get the ball rolling that year. So do you have that card out, or did I totally put you on the spot?
I don't have that card out right now.
Okay.
I did pick that card up, the 96.
Yeah.
And I was happy to. Like I said, I said they were a little overrated back in the day, but
Yeah,
when I finally had it in my hand, and it is a nice looking card.
Oh, that's right. I did call you out. I was like, "What do you mean overrated, man? These are the best thing ever." But I think it's kind of interesting though, because you look back at 96 and you're like, "Wait, that card was like the first of its kind," and to have like the actual owner of the company hand pick those guys out of that insert set. I mean, if you're a Barry Bonds collector, you probably don't like Kramer that much because he was in one Kramer's choice ever, whereas Al was in a bunch, Alex was in a bunch, and so we were pretty lucky when it comes to that. But I remember that card vividly. Like I really remember that sticking out in the 90s. That card being in Beckett and people talking about it on forums and things. And so that card was honestly, one day I'll have to grab it just because I love that card so much, that design. And then Alex made it in 97. So that made it, nice that I could hop into that. And I think he was in 97, 99, and 2000 and 2001. So he just missed 1 year. The year that all those crazy color parallels are in that you have, I think. Did you have a few versions of those?
I have a couple. I know Barry has. I think Barry has the entire run now. Chuck might have the run as well, but yeah, those got tough to acquire after a little bit. I mean, even the 96, I think it was one in 721.
Yeah, 721 packs. Yeah, I mean,
which was huge. It was huge back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, because I'm trying to think. I would assume 12 boxes per case, or if it's 24 boxes maybe per case, then it is a one per case type card if you're lucky enough to get one. But yeah, I think those are underappreciated now. I mean, look at the sale prices of some of those cards. You're just like, man, these things should be like impossible to find, but yet they sell for like $10, $20.
I know. Yeah, they're still reasonable. I think I picked mine up for a really reasonable price, especially for Ripken as well. Yeah. So I was happy with that.
For sure. Yeah. And you got it a little bit tougher than me. Not only do you have more competition, but obviously that creates the prices to be a little bit higher. And Ripken cards are not dropping at all. They stay pretty, I mean, from what you've seen, don't you say they're staying steady, or are they still going up?
They've held pretty steady over the years. I'd say over the past 3 years, it's been, they've been comparable, a little under Griffey, a little under Jeter, but they're right up there. I'd say number 3 in terms of value. So even when you can't find a comp for a Ripken card, you can kind of go off of a Jeter or Ripken. I mean, a Jeter or Griffey sometimes. Right.
I have noticed that. I kind of looked, we all go on the PWCC completed auction thing, and we just kind of take a look at what the fluctuations might be. And, Alex is so tough to judge because, you might see like this clearly dominant card here could go for $20, and then 2 weeks later it goes for $40, and then 3 weeks later it goes for 10. So he's all over the place, man. I mean, I'm starting to see a little more consistency, but it's not what you are at. That, hey, if this card pops up, there's no way I'm getting it for under $50. Like, for sure. But for me, I like sit and it'll be like the last minute, and I think I'm getting a smoking deal, and all of a sudden it goes up to like $50, So you never know, man.
Yeah, he's had a weird career because, like I said, back in the mid '90s, he was right up there. Him and Griffey's cards were side by side with everybody. He was the top shortstop for a while, and then his cards just plummeted for up until I'd say probably 2 years ago. And then
around there.
Now his image is kind of coming back a little bit, and people are remembering how good he actually was during his playing time. And I think now not everybody fully realizes, the value of his cards. So like you said, that's why you see the fluctuations, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I like to throw these comments up. Hey, Matt, welcome.
Hey, what's going on, Matt? I know we were fully live on on Facebook.
Yeah, dude. We're fully live on YouTube, actually, not in the Facebook.
Awesome.
Some of those guys come over and watch if they get a chance. But yeah, so that's kind of interesting that you mentioned that because, man, as you noticed in the group, I picked up a couple of those Tough Stuffs from the 90s with Alex on it. And their prices were always like Beckett was always lower. They always played it safe, where it's Tough Stuff and like Sports Card Magazine. Those guys were like really high on their prices. And I love seeing that Griffey and Alex being the same exact price in 99 after he went 40-40 in 98.
Yep.
I mean, his cards were right up there. And I know I missed out, man. I should have hopped in at around 2007. I could have scored about, I don't know, all this whole collection for about half of what I paid probably. But
probably could have too.
All of us could have, man. I think, Chuck, when he was on the episode, he's that other, obviously Chuck, the Ripken collector. He mentioned at one point he paid, I know you know this card, the 97, oh boy, it's the mirror blue, the team mirror blue, where it's like, or not team, but it's like A-Rod's on one side, Ray Ordonez on the other. I haven't looked at that card in forever. He said he paid like upwards of $100 for that card back in the 90s. And now that card is what, $5?
Sorry about that.
Oh, it's all good. But I think it's kind of crazy. Cat got you?
Yep, she's on the table. All right. Sorry. One more time. There we go. Try it one more time.
Yeah, she makes appearances in your video too. It's funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny that the cards, man, they hit that huge lull in the mid 2000s, early 2010s, and then all of a sudden these groups have popped up and we've all started educating each other on these cards, and all of a sudden now the cards are just like insanely expensive, I
think everything as a whole has gone up, especially, from I'd say 95 to, 2001, 2002, everything's just shot right up. And I don't know if I see it going down fully anytime soon.
I think it's going to take by the time we're
going to plateauing off a little bit.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. Maybe when we're like 50, 60 years old, they'll start maybe going down or hit another peak. And then once we're all long gone, I don't know if, people before us in their 20s and teens are going to even care about these guys anymore. But I think that's not going to take the fun away from the chase of the hunt and picking up new cards, man. I don't think that ever goes away, But
I think we lucked out in a good time too, with the players that were in our time period too. I mean, we saw some of the best of any generation, steroids or no steroids. I think we kind of lucked out with a lot of those good players. None of these guys nowadays are really that marketable, and there's not really many personalities in baseball as opposed to the 90s when you had those larger than life guys like McGuire, Sosa, Bonds, A-Rod, Ripken, like everybody. You can name a giant list of them.
Yeah, it was definitely a more exciting time. If I remember, like the McGuire Sosa thing was going on. You had the Mariners going for the all-time record in wins with Bonds hitting 73 the same year. And then, of course, you had 9/11 that same year. But 2001 back, for me at least, was a really exciting time to collect and watch baseball. But it's in an interesting spot right now. If you're not Mike Trout or Mookie Betts or a big-time rookie, you kind of just fly under the radar,
Yeah. Even a guy like Mookie Betts, I'm half an hour outside of Boston. Even Mookie Betts, like, there's no draw to his cards or anything. I don't see any reason to go out and pick up a Mookie Betts card right now. It doesn't draw to me at all. I don't know what it is, but
it's your love for the 90s, dude. You can't leave those cards behind.
Yeah.
Like, I look at modern cards and like, I want to get excited, but I can't do it. Cause like you're going to spend 50 on a Mookie and then all of a sudden your dream card comes up and you are like $50 short from what you want to spend on it, So it's tough to do that, but I'm a little curious. Like I'd shown off a couple cards. Like when you, about 3-4 years ago, when you started getting back in, what was one of the first few Ripkens that you got? I don't know. You grabbed some cards. Did you grab anything from like when you first started getting in, like cards that stood out to you or anything?
One of the ones I've been after since I was a kid. I went to the Ripken Museum back in like 95 when that was a thing in Maryland. And I saw 93 Finest Refractor sitting in this beautiful like shadow box display in the museum. I was like, I have to get that card. I need that card in my life. And I ended up picking it up for I think 500 back like 4 years ago, which was a good deal at the time. And then like I ended up selling that a few years back. So I'm on the hunt for it again, but that was one of the ones. Yeah.
No. You must have got a great deal on it or something, dude. Like he must have offered like a nice amount and for you to be able to play.
2x4s and sheetrock get expensive.
Yeah.
Like I probably was like a bundle of 2x4s that I had to sell it for, but but that was one of the ones that got me back in. Like it's one of those ones you could save up a little bit and still pick up for a reasonable price now. But that was like always my holy grail was the 93 finest refractor. And I had that for a while and it was great. Now I'll have it again soon enough.
Right. Well, that definitely brings back memories of right before I moved to Prince of Wales Island to teach for 2 years. I basically had like about 40 A-rods and I just sold them all and I should have kept one. And thankfully I was able to find it again, which was the Ionics holographics. And I remember selling that. Dude, I sold that thing for $33. I went back and looked and I bought it for 30 and I sold it for 33, which was, I thought, a good deal back then. Oh my gosh. Like I look now and I'm like, man, that was such a stupid idea. Like I should have just taken that one card and stuck it somewhere in like a box and just packed it away and forgot about it. But I feel like that's the same with your Ripken. You're going to pick it up again and you're never going to let it go again. I will tell you that. I can probably guarantee that. But like if I were to have to get rid of the majority of my cards, that would be one that would never go anywhere. There's no way. Yeah. So, all right. So that was your dream card to start with, right? The 93 finest refractor.
Yeah.
When you were looking at, to pick up cards again, what cards stood out to you? Like I'm curious what you think, because I know a few that I was like, wow, these are incredible. But what about you?
To be honest, I mean, obviously the Crusades are great. The mirror 96 mirror golds are great. Those they've never stood out to me the way like the 93 refractor did or the 92 Donruss Elite signature card did. Like that was another big one. I have that one. Like that was another big one that I was always looking for because that was just such an iconic card for me. A lot of the diamond stuff, I've always liked diamond stuff, like the diamond tributes, the diamond producers, diamond immortals, like all those have always been beautiful to me. And I know those have, they're on the rarer side. I mean, they don't command huge money, but they've always been such nice cards.
Yeah.
Another one, I like the PMGs. Those are nice to chase.
Man, those are just you can thank Michael Jordan in basketball for driving the price of those suckers way up. I mean, you heard me on my last podcast or the last side credentials. I mean, I missed one for like $150 of A-Rod. I'm like, man, that's way too much money.
Yeah.
Whoops. Like, wow, man.
That is strange though. The cross difference, like the PMGs in basketball. I mean, Jordan's demanding over $100,000 for that card. But I mean, the highest PMG is probably Griffey or Jeter, and you could probably acquire that for a couple thousand tops. You'd say,
yeah, probably.
And I know even like the Super Raves, the Circa Super Raves, those command a lot in baseball. I picked up a Jason Sehorn just the other day,
nice.
A Super Rave. It was like I picked it up for $8.
Yeah.
Like just because I was like, this is so cool. It's like a Super Rave. Like, I'm gonna pick it up because I'm not gonna probably ever have any of the Super Raves of anybody substantial in baseball. So why not just have one of a mediocre football player?
Right. I actually have an Kevin Appier, that I pulled from a box. I've still been holding on to it. I'm waiting for the Kevin Appier. Is that who it is? I think it's Appier. He played for the San Francisco Giants for a bit. And I'm waiting for the Appier Super Collector to be like, this is the one card I need. I'll pay like $100 for it. I'll be like, there you go. Yeah.
It's like those salmon collectors out there. There's always some guy who's willing to pay a premium for those mediocre players, you know?
Right. I know. Dude, I feel bad for him, man. This is my buddy Tony, who teaches here, Andy. He's a big Ripken fan. So he's right about that. But the fact that they're the real Ironmen in baseball, man, those guys just to play that many games in a row is just wild, dude. That'll never happen again. It'll never happen.
I know. Like that was honestly like another reason why I got such into Ripken, because that was like the peak of my collecting. Ripken was around, you know, he broke the streak in late '95. Like that was the time. Like
right.
Just watching him break Gehrig's streak was just incredible. And like I was like, I have to collect this guy.
I remember that game that he didn't end up playing, right? He sat out his first game. Was it 97 or 98? I can't remember when he finally stopped the streak.
I believe it was the end of 98 when he did.
Right. It was toward the end of the season. I do remember that.
2,632 was the last game. And I would love to, if I could have a sit-down interview with Ripken, like that would be the one real question. Why did you end it on that day? Like, because there's always been weird speculations about a few things about his streak, and that would be one
something you've heard. What's something you heard about the streak?
There's been rumors, is kind of funny, about Kevin Costner. There's rumors that Kevin Costner was hooking up with Ripken's wife.
Jeez.
And so there was a rumor that one time Ripken went back because he forgot his bag or something, and he caught him with her, and he ended up beating up Kevin Costner and called up the Orioles manager and said he wasn't going to be in that day. And this was during the streak, supposedly. And that later that night there was a light out, like the lights went out in the stadium, which delayed the game a couple hours. And
nice.
Like I said, that's just an internet rumor, and who knows? But
wow, dude, I would love to hear that be true.
I'm not repeating that as fact, if if anyone's ever watching that, but that was one funny rumor I always thought was pretty good.
That's it. Miraculously, the lights went out. Yeah. Nice. Unbelievable, man. That's crazy. That would be awesome to be able to sit down. I think, being able to sit down with our favorite players. I mean, Alex hit the first home run. The only home run is my very first baseball game with my dad, and we moved all the way from the upper seats down behind home plate, and they won it in like the 13th inning on a wild pitch, and or pass ball. I can't remember if it was a pass ball, wild pitch, but anyways, Paul Serrano scored from third, and they won 4-3 in like the 13th inning. It was awesome.
How old were you? How old were you at that game?
11 years old. Yeah, it was in 90. No, excuse me. Was it 96? Yeah, it was 96. A-Rod's should have been MVP season. Yeah, and I was 11 years old. Yep.
Nice. Yep.
Yeah, that was
a
awesome.
Good time to be a Mariners fan.
Yeah, it was. It was. I mean, they were just exciting, man, all the time. You turned it on, and they could be losing 11-0 and come back and win, or they could be winning 11-0. Their offense was insane that year. Those few years there, and just watching, Alex and Griffey and Cora and Edgar and Jay. I mean, they had so many personalities, and of course, Randy was really cool. I actually got to see Randy Johnson's last game in Seattle, which was really cool. And he dominated, and he knew he was being traded like 2 days later, but he came out there and he destroyed the team that he pitched against. I don't even know who it was. We whooped them. So
he was one of my favorite pitchers growing up, just so dominant to watch. And I've always said like he would be like one of the few pitchers I'd never want to step in the batter's box against ever.
No. It was funny. There was a Mariners interview. They had Joey, Randy, and Dan Wilson up on stage, and they were interviewing him for like Como 5 or whatever, the Mariners local station. They had this really cool little interview in a gym. And one of the fans asked, has Joey or Dan ever faced Randy? And the announcer was like, no, they play on the Mariners. And Joey's like, no. I faced him 1 year before, and I think they asked him something like, "So can you tell us about facing Randy?" He says, "Well, I think you're going to have to beep out most of what I say." So I guess Randy was pretty intense on the mound, dude. He was just nasty against everybody he faced, and yeah, he was dominant for sure. I wonder what Cal's numbers off Randy are actually, because I don't think they were terrible, if I'm being honest.
I've never looked him up. I know he's on I think it's the Get a Grip card. I'm not 100% sure if Randy Johnson's on that with him or not. I know he's a dual card with Randy Johnson. I've only seen one. It's either the Get a Grip or the Card Frontations. One of the two. I'm
right.
not sure what it is.
It would be kind of fun to see how they've done against each other for sure. Well, I figured, usually like the first half of these, I like to just kind of interview people and talk baseball and hear kind of your stories. But I know you grabbed some cards out of your collection. You want to show some cards off that you're quite fond of? I'm sure people would love to see it.
Sure. I didn't grab anything too crazy. I picked this up the other day. Speaking of the Diamond Tributes.
Oh, those are so nice.
I'm getting the shadow effect. But the 97 Fleer Diamond Tribute, it's got like these raised, the whole thing is, it's raised up right now.
Like embossed, you mean?
Yeah, it's embossed. Yep.
Awesome.
And it's just a beautiful refractor finish on it. I didn't know it was that nice. I bought off Check Out My Cards, and like the picture didn't do it justice. And when the card came in, I was super excited to see how nice this card actually was in person.
Right. You can see it reflecting off the card into your face. So it's got some really good shine to it. They look, gosh, I haven't pulled mine out in such a long time, that card. I mean, since I did my database, that card is incredible. I remember when I was collecting many years ago and I had a few cards, that was one of them that I had. It's really awesome. This thing was the same way. I put this in one of my recent videos, but from 2000 Revolution, the reds, I mean, even the base cards are really nice, but it really plays well in the light there.
Yeah.
I didn't even know this card existed because it's a retail only, but it is out of, I don't know if it's going to pick it up here. It's only out of 63. So pretty stoked to have. I mean, when you find cards, that's the thing about the 90s, dude. You can go find cards that you weren't quite sure how nice they looked, and then somebody says, "Hey, go check this card out," and you grab it, and you're just totally caught off guard. How nice they look,
Yeah, I love the 99 and the 2000 versions of those cards. Like, I mean, Pacific just did it right from late 97, I'd say, to 2001. Like, there was just so much. Like, I probably should have grabbed a bigger stack of Pacific cards, because there was just so many, like the in the cage inserts, the foul pole inserts. Just everything was die cut. Everything was embedded with something. Like, no two cards were even remotely the same. I would love to see a podcast on the designers for Pacific. I mean,
dude, that's my dream. I told you that. Oh my gosh, it'd be awesome. No, for sure. No, actually, I was thinking about this, Andy, for future. You and me and Chuck specifically really highlight that brand, I feel like, more than most people do. And I think it would be really cool because we kind of dug into Pacific, me and Greg, and who was on that one with me when we did the Pacific episode? I can't remember specific. I feel like it was Nate that was in there. But I think it would be great to do just a Pacific showcase podcast where we're just like showing card after card, and every single one will be different, and that's why I love those cards so much. It's just because the designs were so unique, but yet you can pick them up for reasonable prices still, man. You
can, yeah. And they're like, you look at some of the odds on them. I mean, you say, how has this card even surfaced like once in the past 5 years? But you see a lot of them pop up because not a lot of people care about them. Not a lot of people know how rare they really were. So you see a card that should not be popping up as frequently as it does. You're like, I'll grab I'll grab a couple of them once in a while. Like if I see a double that I know is super rare, that shouldn't be popping up, I have to pick it up if it's a reasonable price. Just
exactly.
Use it as straight bait, nothing else.
Exactly. Well, once you my hope is that what's going on, Ray? Thanks for coming in, dude. You've seen some of his cards, man. His Ichiro cards are just ridiculous.
Right.
He's going to be able to buy a mansion and probably retire on some island when Ichiro hits the Hall of Fame if he really wanted to. But no, I agree with you, man. I was just going on COMC, and a big goal of mine before the end of the year was to pick up as many Pacific cards as I could. And I just loaded up my cart with everything from the 1 per pack inserts to the 1 out of 100 pack inserts on COMC, and I just added them all in there. I mean, there's some that I literally just don't see ever, and they're like the 1 out of 73 pack odds. I think they always kept their odds the same on every product with the inserts, how they were tiered, and like those never pop up. And when they do, they sell for like $15. But then there's like I think you know this card, 99 Aurora Kings of the Major Leagues. It's a very bland card, Looks like it's a base card almost, but that sells for cheaper than the mid insert. It's like, what? Like, I don't understand. Like, how did that even happen?
That's honestly one I've picked up 2 of because of that reason. I'm like, this card is so rare, like, and it's so cheap. Like, how can you not pick up another one of it?
I don't understand how it happens.
It's an ugly card.
Yeah,
don't get me wrong.
Yeah, they are. Like, how about the 2000 Pacific Cup card? Like, that card is so bad. Like, it's a sideways card. The cup is just kind of like in there, but the 99 and 98 versions are the ones that really look awesome. The ones that are actually cut like a cup. I think those are really good.
I might have that over here. I'm not sure.
I know all my Pacific cards are in a nice stack. There is one I'm going to actually have run and go get here in a minute, but I'll let you show yours first. Go for it.
Yeah, I don't know exactly where it is. I have a big stack of doubles here. Oh, here it is.
Okay.
I think this is the 99 version. Like you said, that was the cup.
Yeah, that
one's nice. That one's a cool one because it has the actual die cut of the cup on it.
Right.
Instead of
I'm gonna take like a 30-second time out. I have a card I have to get because I saw the scan of it and I'm like, this card's okay. When it came in, it's probably my new favorite Pacific card. That's not like a 1 out of 300 pack insert. I know exactly where it is. So let me run and grab that real quick, Andy.
Okay.
So I've been databasing my whole collection, and I haven't put these in my database yet. So I have them out handy, which is really nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one right here, this card is awesome. I hope you have one of these because if you don't, I'm gonna convince you to get one. It's from I got to get the year right here, 2000 Pacific, and it's the past and present. So let me see if I can get this to zoom in. So here's the present side. Looks like that. Nice. And it's really shiny, like the 2000 Revolution, same technology. But the back has like this old canvasy feeling on it, and it says past on it. I mean, it's such a cool idea, dude. I love it. It's really cool.
I'm drawing a blank if I have that card or not. I feel like I've seen it either pop up once or twice. I gotta go through. The present side looks familiar, but the past side does not. So now I'll go on a search tomorrow to see if I actually have that one or not.
Yeah, my camera is being difficult here. Let's see if it'll actually focus on me. Doesn't want to, but no, I mean, they look awesome, dude. I mean, these things are, I mean, you can see that they really pop in the light, and my lighting is terrible right now. But yeah, these are cool, dude. They're really cool. So, I mean, if I was going to put a set together at an affordable price, I'd probably just go get all these. I mean, they're pretty sweet.
What do you think of the EO portrait cards?
I actually had a lot of fun with those this summertime. I had the sun coming in perfectly, and I held the card up, like held the card up like, let's make it do it like this, and the sun went through it onto the other side. And on my couch, I had like this huge picture of A-Rod's face. It was cool. What about you? I love them. I think it's a cool idea. You know, it's like the fusions, right? The molten metal fusions. Yeah.
Yep. I'm not impressed with those cards. If you're flipping through a stack of them, I'm not really impressed with them. But like you said, if you hold it up to the light and you can see that little die cut in the middle of the card of that portrait, it's an awesome card if you hold it separately, just like that. I think those are 1 in 73 pack.
They are
around that. Not 100% sure,
but they don't pop up that often either. That's the thing, you know, like those 1 out of 73 odd cards. I feel like those might be around less because people held on to the 1 out of 361 pack card because it was rare. You know,
yeah.
The odds dictated that it was rare. But you see the past and present. I can't remember the last time I saw one of those pop up for auction. I know CMC has a few of them, and that's where I got, or not CMC, but Burbank has a few of them. But you know, I would have never looked for it, and they don't pop up often because I think those cards just got, you know, thrown by the wayside because they were, you know, cheaper or easier to pull. So yeah, pretty cool. Another one I was going to tell you, these are super easy to pull. I think they're 1 per box, but definitely another really cool card is the Vanguard Cosmic Force cards. The light's not going to play with this card the way it should, but it really has an awesome reflective thing going on, and you can barely see the player on this side over here on the background. But these are really, really nice cards. I got this thick gloss to them. The camera's not doing it justice, man. These things, they have a really nice reflective thing going on. So that would be another specific one that's really impressed me that I didn't know about.
I haven't seen that one pop up very often. I do see it once in a while. Those are sweet. That is a good one though.
Yeah, definitely. I would say definitely worth going out and snagging for sure. This is a whole stack of Pacific that I got to put in my database, and they like even some of these cheaper base cards and stuff. They had like you remember the Christmas ornaments.
Yeah.
Those are fun to like. You imagine somebody's tree actually having one of these cards hanging all over when you come into their house. Like, what the heck is going on? You know,
now,
it was pretty cool.
Do you keep the strings on them, or do you take them off?
Well, that one didn't come with the string. It's actually, if you look at these online, these actually, the 2001 didn't come. If you can see, the hole's not punched out of it. No, really? I don't think any of them came with the string. At least the A-Rods didn't. But then the 90 or the 2001 has the string on it. So these are hard to get in a top loader, though. Let me just say, have you ever put one of those into a penny sleeve? Holy moly.
Yeah. Luckily, I mean, you're not a big guy on grading and really condition of cards fully, but yeah, the last thing you want to do is chip up an edge like that just because. Yeah.
No, I thankfully don't care about graded cards. If I did, I would have probably had a mini meltdown as I was putting that thing in the sleeve.
Yeah.
Holy moly, man.
Same with the mother loads, the Metal Universe mother loads, like those, and those, you know, I would be very upset if I chipped an edge on one of those.
And those are, well, and you saw that giveaway I did. I mean, the 97, that thing came crimped in the top of that pack. So it wasn't like I could be upset that the Mike Piazza was ruined. I thought I was like, well, this is kind of cool because I've never seen them like this. But yeah, those are thankfully both in magnetics. So I didn't have to worry about putting them back into a penny sleeve. I was very like, you know, like, because those cards are so thin anyways. And so like that, and then the 98 Rave Reviews, not the 97 Circa, but the 98 Rave Reviews, the copper lengthwise ones. Those are also very easy to like chip and bend. So I was sweating it big time on those cards. They're super fragile. Holy moly, dude. Yeah, it's kind of fun to go through. How do you have your collection organized, by the way? I always like hearing this about guys because I use these. I have 4 of these big plastic tubs that I have them all all inside of. But do you have like a man cave you have them all up in, or do you just have them in some boxes?
Right now, I built a custom wood box a while back, just an oak box with about 5 rows in it.
Nice.
It was holding about 2,000 cards, so I was like, all right, when I get to 2,000 different Ripkens, I'll I'll be good. My goal was 2,131 actually, and then
Nice.
hit that number, just kept going. So
You have more. You have over 2,000 unique Ripken cards.
yeah, I'd say I'm right around 3,000, a little bit over 3,000 right now.
Wow, man, that's pretty impressive. That's pretty impressive.
Obviously you start off getting all the base. You can take out a big chunk of base cards, in lots and stuff, but once you get to around like the 1,500 mark, then you can't just rely on the base cards anymore. You're starting to get inserts and parallels, and now buying a $1.50 card really isn't that exciting, especially if you're going to pay $3.50 for shipping on it. It's like so now the cards I've been getting are the ones that I actually want in the collection.
It is nice seeing them see it really nice, because then you don't have to go and pay the $4 shipping on one card. You can get a bunch of them and have them shipped for one flat rate, and that would have been awesome to have you at the National, because that was what was so awesome about that. I passed plenty of Ripkens. I was like, oh, that's a nice mid insert Ripken there. Like I think I saw plenty of Pacific cards in there. I'm like, oh, that's a nice Ripken. That's a nice Ripken. But to be able to cross off all the like $1 and $2 cards, that was what the National was perfect for, because you could cross off the list. Yeah,
getting some nice low end inserts for relatively cheap money just to get those off the list and not have to pay those shipping charges.
You got it. That's exactly what it was, man. Because there was a lot of those that I'd gone through and I just passed them up on eBay. Like these pop up all the time. I'm not gonna go and grab them. But once you go buy them at the National, you're like, okay, well, I need to leave with this card, because it's too good of a deal already. So I need to grab it.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't have a database right now. I'd love to set one up online and just get my checklist online with pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Just because once in a while I'll see a card on eBay and I'll be like, have I just seen this card pop up on eBay 8 times already, or do I have it in my box? And if I'm at work or something and it's on a whim, I might just click buy it now and then go home and look through the box and be, oh, I have that one already.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that accidentally happened with this card, which is a big representation of when I stopped collecting. I think this was the last year I collected baseball, or real close to it. The Upper Deck made holographics the set, but they made this launcher parallel, and it's got the PNG technology built into it with the circles. And I love this card. Is Cal in this set as well?
He's in the launch. Yes, I believe he is. Is that a parallel, or is that the actual set?
This is the gold parallel of that set. But even the base cards look this nice. They just don't have the gold. They don't have the holographics and the gold border going on.
Okay, around. Yeah, because it does look. I have the base card of that. I honestly didn't know there was a parallel version to that. So
he's got a parallel of this. I think Cal's in Starview too, right?
Yes,
the Starview card. So I haven't got that one yet. And then Cal is also in that horizontal card. What are those called? Because there's a silver and a gold version, and there's only 6 guys in the set. What the heck is that one called? It's like a die cut, and it's sideways.
I'm drawing a blank on that now.
Fame game or something Fame, I think. Yeah, something with Fame in it. You don't have that one though, huh?
I do not have that one either, no.
How can you have like 3,000 cards? That's what's cool to me, is like when you were going through your top 50, I'm like, oh, dude, he's going to have everything. And some of the cards that you had in there, I was like, wow, he's highlighting this card. And then now that you're telling me you have 3,000, I'm like, that's pretty cool that you decided to pull cards out that weren't necessarily the most expensive cards, but cards that stood out to you. And that's really what got me going, like, okay, forget about value here. Like my 98 Atomic didn't even make my top 30 or whatever. I was like, it's nice, but I want to go with cards that I like better. So that was awesome.
Yeah, it's like because I didn't even really go after my refractors or or my game used much, because I feel like going after the game used cards you're dipping into the early 2000s, and it's really kind of a different genre of cards.
Yeah.
Because I'll still collect recent Cal stuff up until I'm still buying 2019 stuff if I see a nice card, a nice parallel or something else. I'll pick it up. So,
Right.
but I'd prefer the 90s stuff. I'm trying to build my collection and get that stuff out of the way, and then the newer stuff's kind of a secondary too.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I was kind of curious. I mean, you actually snagged a really nice lot the other day. I feel like we had a colorful discussion on the group page not too long ago with some members, which was a great discussion. But you were like, all right, enough of that discussion. Look at this lot that I grabbed. It had a little bit of everything in there, man. Did some guy just say Cal Ripken lot and you got it for way cheaper because there was no specifics listed?
No, I think I was selling that lot actually. I think that was it the picture on the table of a bunch of cards?
I thought what you said is enough discussion about whatever we were talking about. Check out this lot that I just got. At least I thought that's what it said, but maybe I was like totally.
I think I might have been. I think I might have been unloading those as doubles.
Okay, gotcha.
But there was. I had some good stuff in there.
Yeah, you did. I was like, geez, if he just picked that up, I'm curious what he was able to get that for, because there was some pretty sweet stuff in there. At least I thought you picked it up, but.
I did get a great lot a couple months back of the Peter Max autographed number to 40 card. That was a shock to me when I saw that in that lot. I was like, is that real? Because I was searching for Ripken,
right,
labeled RIPKIN, so it was mislabeled. So I'll go search eBay once in a while just because you can find deals when stuff is mislabeled like that.
Yeah.
And it was a kind of a grainy picture, and I saw it in the corner of that picture, and I was like, is that what I think it is? And I zoomed in, and sure enough, like I was like, I gotta buy this now. Like it had 82 Topps rookie in it, had like a couple Diamond Kings, like, and it had some other value in that lot.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously that was the main reason I bought that lot, was for that card. But
that's amazing. No, that's really incredible, man. I mean, that's the thing with 90s. I say it all the time. There's still some deals that you can find out there. It's you got to do a lot of searching. Now, gosh, I've looked at so many A-Rod lots that I was like, there's nothing in here, but I got to look anyway, and you like zoom in on the cards and you check everyone to see if there's something buried in there. And one of these days it's going to pay off. I mean, it paid off with my Score rookie that I picked up. That's kind of a story I've gone over multiple times. It was like the third card in a set of 6 pictures. And if you just looked at the first picture, which was like a base card of A-Rod and a screw down for some reason, you would have just passed it up. And that's what people did. And it just that's my greatest pickup, honestly. That and the Epix Emerald, which was so funny that you had posted that Emerald breakdown. You literally had posted it like 2 weeks before, and that A-Rod popped up for $20 of the Epix moments, and I still can't believe it. But somebody again probably didn't know that there was only 30 of them. Oh,
I know. And did you really know about it before?
I knew about that card being out of 30 because a guy named was it Carlo, I believe, from the group who was at the National, he had one for sale and he wanted $100 for it. And I was like, I don't pay more than 70 for cards. So I just kind of forgot about the card. And then when I saw the picture, I then knew even better because you had posted the video and I kind of versed myself on the ones that I already had, the oranges that I had. I don't have any purples yet, but I was just kind of, figuring out which was which. And by the time that card popped up, man, I couldn't have hit by it now fast enough. I was like, it brought more light to the card. You know what I mean? It brought a lot more light to the card for sure.
Yeah. I feel like I'm the same way as you. Like, I feel like a card has a special place in my collection if I know I got a really good deal on it.
Yes, for sure.
For some reason,
I think the fact that it became so cheap and that it has a cool story makes me, when I'm going through my cards, when I look at them, I'm like, oh man, like that. And the fact that those cards, man, think about it, like that 94 Score rookie, I never would have thought that I would have had that card. And when you get your finest refractor, you'll probably have that memory again of when I was a kid, there was no way looking at Burkett that I was like, yep, one day I'm going to own that card. You don't think that as a kid, like you just don't. And I think that, like, look, Ray says it best right here. I mean, I think he nails it on that.
Oh, 100%, 100%. I mean, none of us are really going to ever see, you go to sell your collection, you're never going to see what you've put into it back. Not even close.
Nope.
So, I mean, that's not why we do it, I don't think, especially in this group.
Right.
Out of all groups, like, we do it because we enjoy the cards and we enjoy the variety and the rarity and all of it.
That's a big part of it, man, is I think especially in the 90s, you're going to see a huge fluctuation in value, whereas Mike Trout cards are not fluctuating. They're just expensive all the time. So, you're not going to see that change anytime soon.
Nope.
Definitely not. I had to ask you about this card. I wasn't aware of it until I don't know if you watched my most recent video, but I was looking up Pacific cards that I didn't know about, and I picked up a lot of those light blue parallels. Do you have the one from 99 Crown Collection by any chance?
I actually do, yes. I actually picked that up a few months back. I mean, that one you can barely even make it out as a parallel.
Right. It's really hard for me to tell, man. If I look at it with no light hitting it at a certain angle, it looks like a base card, like a silver, but then you look really carefully. Like, nice job, Pacific, making it like impossible to tell. Like, I must have gone by about 20 of these probably on eBay without even thinking about it, but when I looked up completed sales, none of those sold for even half of what I paid for it. So I think people didn't realize how rare the cards are. I don't think people do with the light blues. There's no way.
They really don't. Same with the 96 Leaf. I don't know what 96 Leaf's deal was with the they made the silvers the most rare and the golds were, they had bronze, silver, and gold, but the silvers were the most rare all along that whole entire set.
Were they?
In Leaf Studio and regular Leaf.
I thought the golds were the hardest to get in 96, but then again, the silvers, here it is, right here. The silvers look so much like the base card. I think people forget how to tell them apart, but this, like right now, this looks like a base card until you get right there and you see that shine on the bottom. That's the only way to tell that it's a silver. That's it. Yeah.
So, and in Leaf Studio, they're at least not sequentially numbered, but numbered. I think the bronze is 2,000, the gold is 500, and the silver is 100.
Right.
So I don't know why they did that way.
I'm not sure. There's one guy that has the silver. There's one seller that's got a silver, and I've offered the same amount of money about 5 or 6 times, and he will not say no or yes. He just doesn't answer me, and he's accepted almost every other offer on every card that I bought from, like the mirror, like this mirror red from Certified. Yeah. He accepted like half price for that, and I've sent him an offer for that mirror, for that silver, so many times, and he still won't say yes. But that card, I guess, was super tough because you had to buy the magazine packs from the retail places to even get the silver.
Yeah, I mean, and they're only, there's only 100 of them, and in 96, number to 100 was, that was really tough to slots. And plus, if they were only in the magazine packs, and the fact that unless you turned them over, you really didn't know that they were rare.
Do you have the base card, Rand or Andy? Can you tell if you were to set them across from you or just on the table and look at them, would you still be able to tell the difference? Like, is there that mirror, like with this one, is there that little bit of mirror shine to it?
There is barely a noticeable difference. Honestly, the silver ones it's almost impossible unless you turn it over. Yeah. So, maybe searching on eBay, just if you're searching for those Leafs, 96 Leaf Studios, just make sure if there's two pictures on that, just look at the back picture just in case, and in that little circle, say 1 of 100, and you never know.
I've looked at more base cards of Alex Rodriguez from 96 Leaf Studio than any card out there, dude. I've checked the back. If there's 2 pictures, I'm automatically checking the back every time just to make sure, Yeah. That card has definitely eluded me for a while, for sure. I'm just going through some cards here. I'm curious if you've seen Ripken in some of these different ones in here. I was talking about these not too long ago, the Triumvirate. I think you've seen a bunch of these of Ripken. He's in most of these, isn't he?
He is, yes. Those, I mean, the illuminators and the luminescence, they're impossible. Like, I never see those pop up. The luminous ones, yeah, the luminous base, I believe luminous is the base, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then luminescent, and then illuminator's the toughest. Yeah.
Yeah.
I never see the illuminators pop up ever for Ripken. Like
Really?
I've always wanted to get the run of him. I have the base run of the regular ones, and I have like 2 luminous ones, but I've not even seen one pop up in 3 or 4 years.
That's bizarre, dude. I mean, I don't know if you saw that I posted that with the video I had on the group. I posted that luminescent A-Rod that I got with him in the cutoff jersey. You know, my favorite jersey. It's got the American Eagle in the background. I mean, it's like a beautiful picture. And it was $2.99. Like some guy put it on eBay for $2.99. Buy it now. I was like, are you serious? Is this really the card I think it is? Because Alan Chen. You've seen him on our podcast. He was like big time, like supporting those cards. Like, dude, you've got to pick these up. You got, because I'd had the Illuminator, which is kind of see through a bit back here.
Yeah.
For a long time, thinking, oh, those are the rarest. I don't need the other ones. And then, come to find out. He said to go pick these up, and I ran off, and I don't know if anybody's going to be able to tell the difference here, but I'll show it real quick. It's not see-through, and it's just got that nice refractor shine going on with it, man. They did these inserts right, and they were not easy to pull either, were they? I think they were like over 100 packs or so. You had to even get the base card or something. I
believe so, and like it would be nice to put the 3 together. In those sets as well. Have you seen any of them put together as a set?
I've seen them like spread out, but I've never seen them put together. And I've already got my eye on the Griffey, but I can't find Jay Buhner. I can't find him, man. It's not like the luminescent. I want the full 3 the luminescence, and put them in the little kind of U form. What about you? Have you done that with the Orioles one?
I have not. I'm not going to say I have it, but for some reason the Jay Buhner one sounds familiar, so I'll go through my cards and see if that's randomly.
That would be hilarious.
I feel like that's just one of the ones I randomly have.
Now, I
have a Maddox one.
Is it this one, or is it the other version, the one that's got more blue on it in the background? Because that's I think. I don't know. Either one's fine, but the blue one is the one that stands out to me. I think that's the best out of all. I don't know. The 98's pretty nice too, isn't it? It's got that cut. It's cut like a glove. You've seen that one, obviously, right?
I like those ones better though. I don't like the 98 ones as much. I think the one I have of Ripken in 98 is, I think it's baseball stitching.
Yeah,
I think he's the middle part of that trifecta. But okay. Yeah, those are still nice. They're great.
That Ray actually said this, and that makes me want to ask another question. Now, you got a few cards in front of you, so I want to definitely give you a chance to show a few off real quick. But I have mentioned this lately in my videos, like what makes a card even better as far as like the picture on it. So when you're looking at Cal, like for me, I already know what I'm going to say, but I'm curious to hear what you're going to say. What like pose or what type of picture do you like to see on a card that makes it even better for you?
I like to see either like a home run swing or just like the on deck circle pose is great to me for some reason. Like I have a couple Ripken cards. He's just like kneeling in the on deck circle. Nice. And like overlooking the field. It's a cool look. I mean, Ripken wasn't a huge power hitter. Like I love seeing Griffey's cards mid home run swing.
When you drop in the bat.
Yeah. Like I have 96 the extreme gold. I mean, he's just in mid swing. I mean, I guarantee you that ball is going about 450 feet into right field bleachers. Yep. You know what I mean? Like Ripken had horrible batting stances. So
dude,
I never really liked
that. He was awesome at that.
There's not many good like look at this warp zone right here. Like this warp zone. Look how ugly that swing is.
I think he's going to right field with that swing.
It was horrible. There's never really a good Ripken batting swing pose. So, like I said, I like to find.
See, look at least my guy's got a good stance in his picture.
Exactly. That's a nice batting stance.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Hey, do you have does he have any cards with the violin when he used to do the violin stance? That was probably my favorite stance that he ever did.
He had so many awful batting stances. I don't know. I think he was doing it to mess with people towards the end of his career, to be honest. Because
remember the home run in the Safeco Field in 2001? I can't quite do it, but he was kind of like this, like he was all hunched over, and then he.
Yeah. Off in the All-Star game.
Yep, Chan-Ho Park, baby. First pitch, dinger to left field in Safeco, pre-walls being moved in. Like he crushed that ball.
He did. They say he grooved that pitch, but I don't think he did. He threw him a fastball. He hit it out.
They say that he grooved him out, like he told him it was coming type thing?
Yeah, I say he just grooved him a nice fastball right down the middle of the plate. But
yeah, he still has to hit it, I mean, he was like 40-something years old or whatever, wasn't he? Or 39 or whatever. He was pretty old, so.
And that was a great moment when A-Rod pushed him over back to shortstop too. Like that was a great All-Star game.
The only thing that sucked about it was he was in the wrong uniform, but we won't talk about that. So
by that time, yep.
Right. Well, I mean, for me, I talked about this card in my last video, and there's so many cool things with this card, and that's why I picked it up, because it's a rare parallel. But the picture too from 99 Pacific, the light blue parallel, 1 out of 73 packs. But he's in my favorite jersey. First of all, he went 40-40 this year, but look at the catcher's face. You already know he's like, oh crap. So this, but he just absolutely destroyed that baseball. And how I've passed this card up for this long, I don't know. It's definitely up in my, probably one of my top 10 Pacific cards that that are rare, because it's got so many cool things going on with it. I've never seen this for sale on auction, so I feel like that's worth a lot more to me than a card that's got a higher insert odd ratio or whatever.
Yeah. But, I mean, the blue, like you said, the blue parallels are. Oh, sorry. I don't know what just happened.
Oh, you're good. Can you hear me?
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, those light blues.
Blue.
Did you know to look for them recently, or did that did you have to do some digging on Baseball Cardpedia to figure it out? I
mean, I've known that they are, they're the hardest ones to acquire out of all the Pacific runs. It's tough to know how rare they actually are, since they don't have a print run on them.
Right. Some of them do, though. That's what
It is weird how they did it. Like, they just were so scattered on numbering stuff and not numbering stuff in Pacific over the years.
I have I think a couple of them are in another box. But I think you commented on my video now. I apologize if I forgot. Was it you that said you'd be curious to know how many cases were produced or whatever, to see if the print run's the same? Was that you that said that?
It might not have been, but I was also curious about that, to find out exactly how many cases were produced, so you can kind of figure out how much the print run actually was.
Right, because I believe this is the 98. These are out of 67.
Yeah.
So, and we know that though somehow that information got out, because they said, well, this is how many cases were made. Here's how many total cards there are. Here are the odds, and you do the math and you figure out that there can only be 67 of these. If the odds are exactly the same for every light blue card from 98 through 2000, I mean, or 98, 99, it's got to be the same. It's got to be. I mean, or at least look similar,
Yeah, like you said, I think they didn't switch up their print runs that much, and their stated odds for a lot of the stuff stayed the same pretty much throughout. So, like you said, if one if one blue one is out of 67, I would venture to say that you would think a lot of them were only 67 made, the platinum blues.
Right. I obviously it's would be such a pleasure to talk with somebody that has worked for them or knows that information, to be able to unearth that information and give it to Rodney and have him put it up on Baseball Cardpedia would be cool, to be a person who could obtain something, because not that it's going to make the card mean a whole lot more to me, because I'm confident they're super rare, is just to know that we're on the right track.
In print. It's nice to know in print exactly what is going on with the card.
Yeah, for sure. But I would love to know. Well, I don't want to bring this card up, but you have the Quantum Leap and I have the holographic, so we'll just go there. We know there's 50 Quantum Leaps out there, and we don't know how many holographics were made, but if you look at the odds, all we have to know is how many cases were made. I think that would be the only piece of information we need, right? How many cases, and then you use the odds of, figure it out. I would venture to say there's 50 or less. There has to be. Maybe 25 or less. Who knows?
Yep. I would say 50 is the absolute max that you would that it would be. Because there was only 10 cards in that set.
Yep, including Kerry Wood. I like to bring that up every time we talk about that set.
There's nothing wrong with Kerry Wood.
Yeah, but there's no Bonds. There's no Frank Thomas. Oh, there is Frank Thomas, isn't there? Or did he not make it in there either? There's a couple of guys that you're like, what?
I think he's in that set. No, I don't think Thomas is in that either.
It's like, what on earth happened here, But our guys are in there, so I guess we're good. And so I was listening to your somebody's in here. Love Kerry. Back in the game collecting. Sorry. I only joke about that because when you're looking at the set now, not many people collect Kerry Wood. There's not much of a following, or like Jose Cruz Jr., but there are a lot of those late 90s top tier interests. That Jose Cruz Jr. Quantum Leap came up and my heart sank because I was like, no, why is it him that's getting listed?
I know.
God, yeah, that was brutal. But when I saw that Cal go, I know which one you were talking about. I was following that Cal that you missed out on. I was bummed that you didn't get it, man. I know how much you want that card, but that card is easily 3 times the value of Alex right now. It's crazy how expensive that card is.
That was one of those things where I didn't think many people were on that auction, and I had the funds to go after it more than I did, and I thought I had a good, reasonable ending price on it, and then realizing, if I shelled out another $7,500, like I would have, I would have it today.
Yeah, that's what Greg did with his Crusade Red Salmon. I know what he put in for his max bid. He's like, well, I saved this much money. I was like, holy crap, dude, you weren't going to lose that card. But I already know if my number one comes up, I will very gladly. I'm just hoping, like for you and me, our cards come up at like a reasonable buy it now, like a couple $100, $300. Like, oh yeah, no problem.
Yeah, done. Exactly. And like I feel like 300 probably would have got that holographics done. At the time.
Yeah, but I mean that just goes to show, man. I mean, like with the Mike Trout card. If it was a Mike Trout card, all you got to do is look at the last 2 auctions, unless it just came out, and you already know I'm going to have to pay this much money. There's no that's what my high bid's going to be, then you can set your expectations, right? But with these 90s cards, man, people stay away from the auction, stay away, and then we all just like hit it at the last second.
Exactly. And it is weird between the difference of buy it now and auctions, like because I feel like you could list a card for buy it now for a certain price and it won't be touched for months and months and months. But if you throw it up at an auction, it could go, you'll see sometimes it's going a lot higher. I'll see a card go for $30 or $40 higher in an auction and then be like, I just saw that buy it now. I can go back and buy it right now for $40 less than what I just saw it go for. It's still listed as a buy it now price, but people are bidding against each other for it. And it's like, you guys know that there's one available right now for under what you're bidding, right?
That happened with the Revolution foul pole, and I was a doofus and bid up even higher than the one that I bought. It was really strange, dude. The hoodies, you remember Hoodies Collectibles? They were listing a bunch of 90s cards. I don't know if they had any Ripkens that went up, but they listed about 150 A-Rod cards from the 90s, and so me and Kyle and a few other guys bought one up. I mean, I overpaid for probably 2 or 3 cards in there for sure. But the foul pole from 99 Revolution went up, and it went for like $15. And then 2 weeks later, this other guy put up a bunch of 90s A-Rods for $199 starting bid. I won it for $199. Like, what the heck happened here? It was weird, man.
It's, sometimes it's just that, like, the one person you're bidding against wins that card. So there's nobody else out there at that moment that's looking for that card. So if another one pops up in a relatively short amount of time, you're getting an absolute steal on it.
Yep. No, it's true, dude. It was weird. I remember, I think I picked up about 15 cards that I wanted, including the Cal Ripken A-Rod passing the torch duel for like $4. It was crazy. Like, it didn't make any sense. Like, it was like that week, all the A-Rod collectors went back into their caves and didn't come out or something. Like, it was weird. Again, the 90s just continue to impress, but also confuse the living crap out of me. I just don't know what to expect when an A-Rod comes up. I'm like, maybe $300. Like the Mirror Gold Team Pinnacle. I know you would. I don't know. Do you have the Mirror Gold Team Pinnacle from '98?
I do not. That one that's going for around 1,000, a little bit more for Ripken. Yeah. I mean, it's a beautiful card.
Oh man,
but it's up there. And it pops up once in a while because I think, some people want to unload them and they know they can get big money for it. And so you see it pop up, even though I think there's only 30 of those out there.
Right. There is. Now you have I feel like you showed that card off. Do you have the gold version though? You have the gold.
I have the regular gold. I have the regular gold version. Right. I think there was like, I want to say 500. I'm not 100% sure on that, but
how many there were? 8?
Yeah. I actually think I was comparing that one to another card in that set that was rarer, like in terms of print run.
Might have been the Epics, maybe, or no, it was the I have it. It's in here. It's the gold parallel out of 100, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Those are super underrated, man. Those things look ridiculous. I know it's in here somewhere. I just pulled out a few cards. I know that Ripken's in like most of these that I have in front of me right here. This was the rave reviews that I was talking about. I think Cal's in this one, isn't he? From '98 Thunder.
Yes. Yep. I picked that one up about a few months back. That one's a really, really tough card.
Yeah, man. They're super fragile too. My gosh, they got all this like really cool embossed leafy stuff going on at the top here, but they're super thin. I mean, really, really condition sensitive. I can't imagine finding a PSA 10 of that card. I feel like that would be impossible.
I know, you'd pay a premium for it. Like, that's why I kind of like, when I find a PSA 8 going for even like a 7, it's going for a little lower than it should. I'm like, I'll just buy it and crack it open and turn it back into a raw card again.
Right.
I'll keep anything that's a 9 or a 10 in its case.
Do you?
But I'm not specifically seeking them out. I'll just, the 9s usually don't carry much of a premium, but
no,
I'll try to stay away from 10s if I can. I did pick up the Leaf Steel promo.
Nice. Oh, you had that, didn't you?
No, I picked this up. I posted this a couple days ago, and I got the Griffey too. That was only an 8, which is hard to do for the metal card. I feel like.
How's it? What's the deal with the 8 on that?
I think the bottom corner has like, it looks like it's a little tiny bit rusted out. I don't know. Like, I don't look at the card that closely to really care the difference.
Right.
But these were really tough. I don't know. I've been chasing the Ripken for a long time of this, and it finally popped up the other day, and then Griffey followed right behind him. Like, well, might as well pick up the Griffey too.
You know what we all do too with our 90s cards? There's like a $2 card out there that we're about to win. You're like, I'm going to check this guy's auctions to see if there's anything else that I could possibly need.
Oh yeah. That's where I found that. They had about 6 or 7 of the Leaf Steel promos, and I was like, well, I had a decent bid out on the Griffey, and like I saw it closing. I had a few other things I wanted to win. I was like, well, if I win this Griffey, then I'm going to miss out on these other cards. And like, I'm not saying, unfortunately, I won the Griffey, but
yeah, right.
It restricted me from picking up other stuff that I wanted probably more than the Griffey at the time.
Well, you're going to have that for trade bait in the future, so I wouldn't worry about that. Some Ripken will pop up, and you'll be like, well, "What about this Griffey?" You know, I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." This
that's
is
the thing. Like another one here. The Crash the Game Gold Exchange.
Oh, that's sick, man.
I don't know if I've talked about this at all in terms of rarity and in terms of print run on those.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, these. I know we talked about the '96 Stadium Club Gold Exchange cards, and like these were really, really tough to actually acquire the gold ones of as well. Because I mean, you had
story on those though, because A-Rod's not in that year. He's in '97 all the way up until '99.
So the backstory of those is, so you had these Crash the Games. There was 3 per player, so there was 90 Crash the Game cards total.
Okay.
And each one is labeled, like this one's September 2 through 4, and then June 27 to 30, and then another one. So the gimmick was if your player hit a home run, so each player had 3 cards with 3 days throughout the season. If your player hit a home run during one of those days, then you could exchange that. You could send that card in for these.
Oh, okay.
So there's a silver one. The silver one was, I think, 1 out of every 5 packs. You could get a silver, and then the gold ones were 1 out of every 50 packs.
Now the gold ones, like they would send that gold one right there that you're holding.
This is a gold. Yeah. See, that's a gold one. There's not much difference between a gold and this is the silver.
Okay. So I get it then. So you'll get the gold back if you send them the gold version, correct?
So you'll get, this is the silver version and this is the gold version of it.
Nice. Okay, I see it now. Cool.
So the gold version, though, actually is real wood grain. So it's actually a really cool card. So this is all real wood grain on the face of it.
Yeah.
Instead of the silver version is just the acetate plastic.
There's a quick question for you here, real quick, Andy, from Ray. By the way, before he.
I've been collecting him since I was probably about 8 or 9 years old. So probably around 94, 95 is when I first got into collecting Ripken.
Okay. Cool. Well, that's cool. I mean, one thing that you've been pretty well known for in the community, I'd say, Andy, is your ability to, you get all the cards laid out and you get your odds and everything, all the breakdown of how the inserts work. And you definitely bring to light some rarity that I definitely wasn't aware of with the epics, and I'll make sure to link your channel in here for any of the guys that watch the podcast, and we'll go check it out. But you broke down the epics perfectly because, you can read about it on Baseball Cardpedia, but if you see visually the cards themselves and what the epics have, no pun intended, some epic patterns in the background with like the foil and the light reflecting. And so when you showed them, I'm like, oh yeah, I have that A-Rod and this and this. I have the purple and orange. Oh, I didn't realize they were this rare, or I didn't realize what product they came from. So that's always really cool. I feel like when you post videos, I'm ready for some knowledge to be dropped on me.
Yeah, I wanted to do a specific video for the Collector's Choice exchange cards and the Stadium Club exchange cards one of these days, just to go over, because I know there was a big discussion about player odds as opposed to pack odds and all that stuff. Because as like I said, as a player collector, you like to know, at least in my eyes, like how rare it actually would be to be buying box after box after box, trying to get your specific player, that insert of that specific player.
Right.
And, so that gets you thinking of how tough that actually would be in certain sets and certain inserts.
Right. And we embellished a little too. I mean, we can clarify for anybody that watches that we were very hypothetical in our predictions of how many it would take. But I think that's something that is hard to think about now too, because there's really no boxes left of that stuff. We got that group on our community that breaks those 90s boxes. And I mean, you saw that one time that Frank Thomas Golden Boss came out of that Finest box. I mean, that Finest box had been sitting for, 23 years or whatever. Yep. 21 years. And it's like, and that card's been in there that entire time. Like, there's still rare cards. There's a Quantum Leap. There's a Holographics probably sitting in a box somewhere. Who knows where? But it's crazy.
Yeah. Like the cool thing about the Quantum Leaps, though, like a lot of those lunch boxes got destroyed. Like nobody really wanted them, so a lot of that product got thrown away. Same with like some of the Pinnacle inside the cans. Like that's kind of why those
diamonds, those diamond clubs.
The diamond clubs are kind of more rare too, because a lot of that early stuff kind of nobody bought it, and it kind of got thrown by the wayside. But especially the 98 retro, that's why there's such a high demand for that Quantum Leap. I actually just unloaded my other one the other day.
That's did you put it on eBay too?
Yeah, that was mine.
That was yours? Okay, I was wondering because of course I have a saved search for that, and specifically my player. If a blue dot ever shows up next to that search, I'm gonna have a hard time keeping myself together. Like, oh god, please nobody buy it. So
yeah.
Anyways, but yeah, you're right, and that's really crazy to think. I remember I went into that card shop I found when I was in Washington, and he had a sealed, lunchbox sitting up there. I'm like, nope, not going to take a chance. But I thought about it. It.
Did he have a high price on it, or was it reasonable?
Like $75 or something like that.
That's tough to pay. Yeah. That's tough to justify.
I paid $50 for mine. I mean, and that I thought was a bit much because the odds of you pulling an auto or something nice are super, super slim. I pulled like a Frank Thomas Big Boppers and an Orlando Hernandez out of 1,000. That was all I pulled.
Yeah.
Or in a couple of groovy glove ones. But anyway, there's nothing in there. It's just the lunchbox was cool. I got my Griffey in the cupboard up there. It's a cool thing to have, but yeah.
I have the empty Ripken lunchbox. I bought that, just because.
Right. Exactly. It's a cool gimmick. I know I saw a guy on Blowout Cards. He opened a box of it. I think she opened a box of that, and there were two Griffey Quantums stuck together in the same pack.
I did read that story. That was, imagine that.
And she probably sold them both back then, which was like 3 years ago. Can you imagine if she'd have held on to both of them and then sold them now? Oh my gosh, man.
I know. Like, I feel like that's a card that is going to steadily have a high demand on it. Like, the only problem is, like you said, there's kind of like a few of those guys in that set shouldn't be in that set. Like Jose Cruz Jr., I think. Is Roberto Alomar in that too? I don't know.
There's 15 guys though, right? Like it's a bigger set. I think it's 15. Pudge Rodriguez is in there. I know that.
I've seen a few of his, like 3 or 4 of his have popped up. I don't know if it's the same one being resold or what. But
not sure.
I feel like every time I look for the Quantum Leap, like there's a Rodriguez out there that's either just been sold or still.
The wrong one, dude. The wrong Rodriguez, I'm telling you. And then there's like Todd Helton showed up one time. I'm like, really? $40? Like Vlad Guerrero, $50? I'm like, this is ridiculous, man. But that card, it hasn't gone on to eBay since 2016. And a lot of guys don't show up. Ripken, I mean, geez, if you hadn't listed yours, I think did you win that one? You won the one previous that had just ended a couple weeks prior.
So I got that. That was number 8 of 50, his jersey number. So I was like, I have,
the other one.
I want that one so bad. And I was like, I'll unload the other one at some point. And, so I went after that one pretty hard. And that was the week I won the Essential Credentials and the Quantum Leap and a 99 Finest Gold Refractor. So it was like, it was awesome to win. But I was like, oh boy, got to do some side work this weekend to justify these.
Go buy some Top Ramen and peanut butter and jelly and live off that for the rest of the week, huh? Yeah. No, I hear you, man. It's once I bought the card, the big card at the National, the View to a Thrill out of 10. Once I popped that blank at the National, as Joe LaCreca likes to call it, which he's totally right. Once you break through that $100, $200 plus, purchase, I think it makes it seem a little more like, okay, you know what, if a card pops up, the one I really want, I'm just going to go for it, and you
exactly
figure it out. And I didn't have that mindset 4 years ago. You know, I obviously didn't have the funds I have now, but I didn't have that mindset to say, you know what, I might never see this again. I need to get this card now. And, you know, I lost out on one probably 2-3 months ago. And other than that card recently, I've made sure to pay. Like, I need to get this card. And thankfully, the group definitely, you guys all motivate me. I know you're the same way. Like, you have to get it, you know, like everybody says how rare it is. So you better get after it, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I get jealous when I see Chuck's posts all the time. I'm like, oh, he's posting some nice Ripken stuff right now. Like, I traded him the Stand and Deliver red
Nice.
I think last year, and like that was an awesome card too. I mean, those were super tough to acquire. I think A-Rod's in that set, right?
Yes, he is. And again, I didn't, you know, Joe had one for sale, and I was like, you know, I'd love to buy the card from you. What do you think it's worth? And he said what it was worth. And at the time, I'm like, I can't pay that much for a card, because at that point, and I still kind of feel this way, I'm all about, like, obviously you 3,000 cards, you're probably here too, is like well-rounded collection. If I sold all these and I had 10 of the most expensive A-Rod cards in the world that from the 90s, I don't know if that would do much for me, because it's just and sure, you know, it's a mount. It's the type of well-rounded collection. So for me, I passed it up. I'm like, it's just one card, you know.
Yeah. And also, you don't want a collection of just all commons either in base cards. Like you said, there's some great base cards out there, but you want I don't know. At least I want a bunch of high, you know, mid to high range insert cards.
Right.
Just spread out over like Scrooge McDuck sifting through his money.
I did that one time when I was selling that big entertainment center. I spread all my A-Rods out. Remember that video I took where I kind of like showed them all? But
that was an awesome video. Yeah.
Greg goes, just leave it like that for like a couple of years, man. You'll smile every day you wake up. I was like, I'm nervous as heck waking up and seeing them all out like this. Like, you know, the ceiling could fall in or something. Like, I can't do it. Pick them all up, put them all back in their nice protected boxes. Like, I just eventually I want to get them up though. That's what I was asking. Like, if you had any on display, like, you know, Aaron, I don't know if you watched the interview we did with him, but once he gets his man cave and his new place done, he's got them all like spread out in those big picture frames, all of his Gary Sheffield. So something I got to do sometime for sure. But
I would love. I'm still trying to design it like a way to be able to display it, but still have it, because I don't want to have it obviously displayed and have the sunlight hit them, especially if autographs, you know, the autographs will fade and stuff like that. But like some kind of catalog where you remember those old time, you know, those movie posters that you see in like Great Comics, you can just turn the page and page. Like if I could make a design of just all cards just lined up on either side of that and just flip through pages like a giant book. Like one of these days when I have some free time, I'll come up with something. But
right, because you work in carpentry, right? Don't you build houses? Yeah.
Yeah. So like there's I feel like us as card collectors, we'll spend so much money on cards and then there's nothing out there to display them nice. You know, people have thousands of dollars worth of cards in shoe boxes. Like that's how we display our cards, is crappy old beat up shoe boxes or white little containers of cards, and that's it. Like there's nothing nice out there really.
No, I think the best way to do it, and you know, what was it? Aaron was saying he's got there's these certain lights that you can put in there in your lights that don't fade, you know, don't fade the foil on cards or don't fade some of the ink on cards. But his is kind of down inside of a man cave, literally, like down in the basement. It's a big, huge room. And I mean, if you could get like my bedroom here, I only got one big window. So I think if I put them against this wall, I'd have no sunlight hitting them. I'd love to get like some big bookshelves and then get some tiered, little like mini stands and have the cards all displayed on there. I think that would look really cool. You know, you can mix it up. You can change it out, like do a Pacific month where you have all your Pacific cards out and then you put those away and put up your deck. I don't know. I got to do something, man. I love having them in the little clear cases, but I don't ever get to look at them, you know?
Yeah.
So
I know. Yeah. Maybe we can create a giant, a 90s insert museum where we can, you know, put our cards on display in one big national museum where we can rent out spaces and have our cards displayed for a few months.
We've talked about it, man. Like, I thought it would be so cool. I mean, it would be so hard to like just bring them to display. But when I was at the National, there was a couple of guys. Yeah, you remember that? There was a couple of guys that just had all their Griffies out for display. Like, nobody was allowed to buy those. I was like, so if I came here with $1 million, like, well, I mean, $1 million, yeah, but they're not for sale. And he had all of his Griffies out, and I just stood there like, oh my gosh. I mean, the cards were just like epic Griffies. And I'm like, you know what? How awesome would it be to go to the National and see a Tim Salmon collector here? You know, you got your Bonds and your Ripken and your A-Rod, and you got all these Roger Clemens, your Jeter, all the 90s guys represented, and just have like a showcase row where you can just walk up and down and see them all.
It would be amazing. I would love to see it. Like, just I would spend hours. You could spend hours just looking. You don't need to buy anything. You just go there to look and appreciate what everyone has on display and appreciate people's collections for what they are.
Right. Oh, for sure, dude. I think that's the big one. I would. It's not just the cards themselves. Like, you're walking along and you see like, somebody who doesn't know anything about the 90s sees the linchpin card and he goes, hey, what's the deal with this card? You say, well, this is the technology that was used and it came out of this set and I grabbed this in a lot and you could barely tell what it was. Like, stuff like that. I feel like the 90s cards especially have so many interesting stories tied within them that if you did like a cool gallery showcase thing, you could just walk up and down and talk to guys about these cards and like, oh yeah, when I was a kid, I bought this card or got it in a pack and I've never let it leave my side, stuff like that would be cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, that's half the fun of going to card shops back in the day when they were around was talking to the dealer. Like, I would spend 2 or 3 hours at a pop just talking to him about cards as I'm sifting through his dollar bin or whatever, like that was part of the fun, is just talking about the cards themselves instead of, being a secluded little collector and you're sifting through your box of cards late at night by yourself, like not being able to share them with anybody or talk to anybody about them.
Well, it's interesting because Ray says this right here, and I know Ray's got, he's got the best Ichiro rookie card collection probably in the entire world. I mean, I'm not just saying that to blow sunshine or anything. It's like he's got everything. It's almost a shame, Ray, I know you're listening, that he can't like put them out there in some kind of museum so we could have an Ichiro like showcase of just like a well-rounded Ichiro collection or Ripken or whoever. It's like the fact that we got to worry about sunlight, man. It's like I hope that they somehow develop a way to make these completely proof of sunlight ruining them. And the only way to test that, I think, is if they say they have, you get a base card or something that's got potential of fade and you stick it right in the sunlight for a whole year and see if it changes. Yeah.
Well, especially the refractors. I got to move real quick. I got to put my phone on charge.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah, the refractors themselves, like a lot of those early on faded.
Oh, for sure.
And also the Sweet Spot. I don't know if you remember those Sweet Spot autograph cards.
Yeah, I pulled a Jeter a long time ago. I remember that. I sold it right away, but I know those fade terrible, don't they?
Oh yeah, like I have a whole bunch of Sweet Spot autograph cards that just, they're torched. You can barely see the autograph. I mean, I picked them up for cheap, but like they're, you can barely see the autograph and it kind of ruins the card because they were really nice cards back in the day. But
yeah, for sure. Well, I know it's getting pretty late there, dude. I do appreciate you sticking around with us. I know for me it's only 8:20, but it's past midnight for you. But yeah, I definitely appreciate you coming on here, man. I think you're a great contributor to the 90s community. I think a lot of people gained a lot of knowledge from your videos, including myself. And thanks again for motivating us to show off some of our cards. I think as you were watching the videos, the coolest thing that I noticed was the variety in cards. I don't think anybody had the same cards in their video. Nobody did.
No, I feel like that was a good thing. I think people obviously didn't want to show the same card over and over too. So they're, some of the cards that they might have wanted to show, like, oh, that guy already posted a video of that one, so I'll show a different one. And that was awesome because you saw tons of stuff across the board that was completely different.
Right. That was really neat. I mean, I especially like the guys like Jason who showed off cards that really deserve more love because of their design, but a lot of people just pass them over. because they're not valuable, and I think that's something I really want to see the community embrace a little bit more is go beyond the value of the 90s cards and take a look at like that past and present card I showed you. I promise you got to go get one, dude. Like right when you get a chance, go look it up and grab it. I can't wait to see what you think, because I think cards like that are still flying under the radar and have room to be appreciated. But it just takes the right type of collector to really bring that appreciation out, so.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of people in the group that have that appreciation for them, which is
definitely
great.
Yeah, for sure, dude. Well, hey, have a great night. Would love. Hey, I don't know if you're up for it, man, but in the near future, let's plan on doing like a straight up Pacific showcase where we can talk about those cards and really bring a lot of those cards to light and the uniqueness of that brand. I'm thinking if we can do that, and maybe spearhead a conversation. I know somebody who knows the guy at Pacific. It's a card shop owner, and I want to be able to like send him that video and say, hey, we would love to talk to the guy. I know Kramer still lives down in the Seattle area somewhere. I know he's super old, but it'd be nice if he could at least put us in touch with a designer or something and say, hey, what did you think about these cards when you were making them, Oh,
100%. Yeah. Because, I mean, the designers were off the charts with those cards. And like you said, if you can get someone on board from Pacific, it'd be even better. So, yeah, I'm fully on board for that.
That'd be great, dude. Well, hey, I'll be in contact with you, man, and best of luck with your Ripken chases. Excited to see if you're able to snag a few of those, for sure.
All right. Thank you very much. And thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. See you, Andy.
All right. Bye, Matt.